and welcome to Flourish by Design TV, where I'm sharing my brand wisdom with you each Saturday morning. And then I have beautiful live interviews with creative people who are launching as well. At the moment, today, I was inspired to talk about brand essence and the 5 principles to creating an authentic brand essence. My name is Caroline. I'm your host. I'm a design thinking lecturer. I'm a branding, well, I wouldn't say expert because we're always learning, but I've been working in branding for the last, say 30 years. I come live from Dublin here, for people who don't know me. And I'm just absolutely in love with creativity. I absolutely love and adore design, innovation. Design thinking is really my thing, where, the foundational thought of each project and each idea, and I absolutely love and so passionate about bringing these amazing new initiatives and new ideas to the world that can make it a much more beautiful place and experience for everybody to live in, especially during these times. So I've decided on Saturday mornings to kind of go through some just quick principles and tips to guide you around your branding, your brand journey. There's a lot of people who are working solo entrepreneurs, we'll say, and maybe starting off new initiatives, especially through COVID. I don't have expert advice around this. So I just thought it would be great to just give some quick principles to see how how you're doing, and where maybe there's some areas that you could work on in your brand creation. I'm just back from on Thursday a design leaders conference. So there was some amazing things that came out, like taking the temperature of the nation in Ireland, and where I suppose where customers are going, their behaviors and what they're looking for. And I think brand experience and brand essence was one of the things that was kind of a hot topic. And that's why I wanted to talk about brand essence today and explain what that is. And first of all, as well, to say that I'm very aware that some people think when they hear the word branding, it's like a bad word, it's amazing. Actually, I do. When the minute I say that word, sometimes people just go, oh. And unfortunately, that's because of mistrust, mistrust in large brands that haven't been serving, our larger community for a long time. But the good news is that people actually aren't really buying into that anymore. They're getting much more discerning. And this is what's actually creating this movement towards creating more authentic brands, because especially the younger generation, I'm a design lecturer, and I'm up close and personal to, the teenagers, 18 upwards. And it's just something that they just do not buy into. They're very, very clued in. They just are finding it a saturation in this fake perception of brands. They want to know the truth of where products come from, and even down to the very local coffee shop. And they're very, very clued in around what's right, what's not, who's sustainability, circular economy, how people are treated, well-being. So this fantastic movement forward and progression. So it's actually putting pressure on companies, individuals and large corporates to make that change. So it's like public opinion is changing the culture, which is fantastic. And we have so much power to do that, because we are the consumers. So to talk about authentic brand essence is very important at this time. So I wanted to bring you through some principles, 5 principles of what brand essence you should be looking at, and just maybe gauging it around your own personal brand, or if you have a small company, or if you're a larger corporation, are you in tune with what's happening? Because it's easy when you're very busy to lose sight of that as well, and it's sometimes we have this great, we have an ethical kind of foundation, but it's hard because times are moving so quickly. So I wanted to kind of bring you through some of that. First of all, just to explain, when people say what What is brand essence? Brand essence is the soul of the brand, you know? It's the soul of the business. It's how people what how people connect, what they connect to. So it's the experience of your your service or your product. So to 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 understand that, that comes from the foundational thought of the idea for the company or for the service or for the product. In its core, what what is it saying, you know? So the five principles I'm looking at is to creating an authentic, um, I suppose, brand for the is the first one is to make it relevant. And what do I mean by that? I mean making it relevant to the needs of, you know, the nation we were talking about this week, or the needs of our global village, our global community, because now we're actually in this global village. I grew up in a tiny little village and it was very connected and it was very like a microcosm of the whole. Very connected. Everybody knew each other, everybody was connected, they all had a role to play and they all fed into the same kind of system. So now we're with social media, we are all part of that massive community. So everything that we do has a ripple effect. So to take a gauge of that, you know, and to see, are you relevant to the needs of your customers? And are you creating, are you feeding, you know, a desire that they require at this time? You know, times change. So sometimes we need to feel a different way in a different time. So what are people feeling now? You know, it's that empathic part, you know. What are they actually feeling? What are they needing? Are you listening to your customers and you're listening to, or the services that you required, you know, are you actually relevant to what's happening? Are you still in a model that might be 10 years ago? And that might be actually causing problems in the business because you haven't kept up. And actually that is a challenge for this time because things have changed so much. And trying to keep up with how people are feeling and their attitudes is something that's is vital. It's really vital at this time to keep that connection, keep talking to your customers, keep asking them questions and finding out how things have changed and how they're feeling, what they need now. So keeping it relevant to the desires of your customers now. So make it relevant is number one. Um, make it think about when your essence, if you're creating, you know, looking at the brand essence, is it believable? Is it believable? Like, say, for example, Disney, when they're selling the idea of going to Disney, it's selling this wonderful experience, you know. And when you get there, it is that wonderful experience. You know, they're selling wonder. Like their brand essence is wonder. It's magical. It's, you know, taking you out of the your normal experience into, you know, your mundane experience of life into this magical land, you know, this place that makes it feel everything feel fantastic. You can spend time with your kids, you can see their faces light up, you can, it's like, you know, this going back and becoming a child yourself as well and having that, so that's what their brand essence. And then is that is that believable? Does that come across as being something that people will buy into, that they can really connect to? So is that something that's, it's the feeling, you know, the feeling that you create is part of the brand essence, you know. So when you say Disney, what happens? You know, you get this feeling in your body of, you know, magic or wonder. It unlocks that inside of you. So it's believable because it connects with something within you, a feeling within yourself. So, you know, that's very much part of it, you know. And can they believe that about, that you will give that experience, you know, because it's all about experience. And then I suppose, we hear feedback from people who have gone to, say, for example, Disney, and, what their experience of that is. And then that builds trust when people say, oh, I'd like to experience that too. And, then they go and bring their families and they invest their time and money, because people aren't going to invest their time and money, especially now, in something that they don't believe in, you know? And is it something that they can get behind as well, even if it's not like a fun experience? Like, is there something in it that has meaning, like, is it something that connects to them and they believe in it, they can back it, it makes them feel a certain way. um that's number two. I have notes down here and just looking at, yeah, make it timeless. That's really important as well. So when we're looking at brand essence, we're looking at creating a feeling around a company, an organization, or a coffee shop, or even if it's an individual personal branding. It's actually, having a timelessness about it. So that every time you go there, it's going to be this. It has that same message. And this is really important for these times, because something that doesn't change in changing times is very comforting. It's very comforting because it's like, there's so much change at the moment across the world. Like I was talking about, trying to stay relevant to that. But there's an aspect in your brand essence that needs to stay constant. And that over time, if it was a 30 or 40-year, um, I suppose, lifespan, because you have to think about the future of your company or your brand or what you're building, is what can that be constant? Is it something that's strong and that people get behind? So like we talk, everyone refers to Nike. It's like, just do it. It's been there for decades. It's changed. It's stayed relevant. So it stayed with the time, stayed with the fashion, stayed with the trends. It's trying to in tune with what the younger people want, what all the different ages want. With the times, it changed with the times, but the actual message stayed the same. So there's great trust, and there's a great, that sense of reliability about it, because it's timeless, in that regard. And absolutely, building that, it's like beating a drum, you know, keep beating that drum constantly, and then people have a in these times especially are going to want to stick with brands that they feel secure with. It's about security. Timelessness and security are kind of linked. So make it timeless, make it something that is not going to change. So for example, if you were going to have a brand essence that was about adventure, an adventure experience or something like that, you're not going to all of a sudden change that around and it'll be a luxury brand. you know it's totally changing the essence of your brand. That you need to, it's more important to stick to one experience, feeling. So like, it's, or like, say for example, if it was a fun filled, a coffee shop that was based around, bringing your dogs, it's family based, whatever, and build this great community of people around that who love their dogs and just come together, and they can enjoy coffee and don't have to leave their dogs at home, and it's very sociable. And then you change it, like, no, there's no dogs allowed. We're actually upping it now, and we're going to bring in the best baristas, and it's going to get very fancy. It changes the whole. You can see how, like, that the essence of the brand is really the experience. Even if you kept the logo the same, the interior of the coffee shop the same, everything the same, but if you change the brand essence, the whole soul of the business changes. So people are buying into the experience and the feeling, how you make them feel. So it's making it timeless. So you're constant, even though you're staying relevant. Um, so making it unique. Yes, that uniqueness. How are you standing out from the crowd? How are you looking, being different? You might be serving a same desire. There might be a desire for connection. There might be a desire for luxury. There might be a desire for tranquility. There might be a desire for, at this time, um, authentic, as in when I talk about like eco-friendly products or something like that, there might be a desire for that, but how unique, the uniqueness of that, there's a lot of people who are doing, say beautiful brand products, but how do they stand out? So, I know beautiful products, say for example, I have a friend of mine who creates beautiful handmade soaps. Um, and how do you position yourself? What's your brand story? So your story has to be unique. It has to connect on a unique way, and has a unique style, and the way you present yourself has to have that kind of uniqueness, so that you stand out from the crowd. So that's very important as well, and that comes down to authenticity of yourself, the soul of the brand. Again, what you feel you want to express, and very this comes to kind of nearly personal branding as well. That what is it that really your values and your, how you want to express that uniqueness. Because I think, to me, I'm so excited about these times, because I feel that we're going from this kind of factory made kind of carbon copy of people being, we feel like we should be like everybody else, to know it's actually far more exciting to everybody to stand in their uniqueness. And I was like, what's different? Because we're all different. We're all humans. We all share the human experience, and they all share the same, desires and needs, wants, and to progress and to grow. But there's also that uniqueness about us. We're all a unique design, and each company and each individual, whether it's a small company or large corporation, should really be exploring that and celebrating their uniqueness and expressing that and communicating that in a way that people can really feel, see, touch, smell. They can they can experience the uniqueness of what you're bringing to the world. That has a huge relevance at this time. And then number five then is make it memorable. So that's how impactful is it? How impactful is it? What's the impression that you're leaving behind? Because you're wanting to leave an impression always of that experience. And how impactful is it? How punchy is it? How much does it stay with you? The brand essence, the experience of drinking that coffee, the experience of using those products, the experience of you know that day out or whatever, experience of, if it was a spa, the sounds, the smells. How did it What impact did it have? Did it leave a lasting impression, so that people would pass that on, and they will experience, they talk to their friends and family about it, and that they also would want to repeat that. They want to repeat that experience, and that had an impact on them. And even, say for example, I'm thinking of when you get your iPhone, people always talk about that, the experience of opening the packaging. People do that a lot on social media, and they talk about wow, you get, it's such a designer's, I suppose we can get very nerdy about these things, but the experience of the packaging, the experience of the simplicity of the design, and the quality of the products, and how when you open, there's been so much time and effort to actually go to put into the research and development to make the product so streamlined and so sophisticated and so simple. Because sophistication and simplicity are kind of one and the same. It's very hard to make something complex that is really creates kind of an aspirational brand, because it's memorable. Even just getting the iPhone for the first time, it stays with people. It has an impact, so they definitely, their impact is definitely in that, when the sale, the purchase, and then the opening, and then obviously the experience of using it on a day-to-day basis. It's very user friendly, but there is an experience created, an impactful experience created through their packaging design, and what they've invested in that, and seen that as being something that's very, very important to the science side of things. So I hope that's helped you. And just to go over it again, the first one was make it believable, make it relevant, make it timeless, make it unique, and make it memorable and impactful. So I hope that's really helped you. I want to keep it kind of short and not too heavy. So it's just for you to have a little think about, where you could maybe improve on that. Is it something that you need to feel you're not relevant enough? Do you need to, where can you make more impact? Are you communicating your brand essence enough to the customer in your communication, as in, are you actually making it believable? Are you is it timeless? Have you have you focused it down to the point of the pencil nearly of exactly what you're bringing, and that never changes, um yeah, and what having a bit of fun with it, to me, and it, overall, really, it's to enjoy your own brand essence. And then I think when that filters out then into your customers, your staff, your the experience that you're bringing to the world, and it's a beautiful thing to be doing and to be looking at, because especially in these times, for when you think about well-being, and I'm definitely a well-being advocate, and definitely trying to bring that into the branding world and talk about it a bit more, like, I suppose, not to see it as disjointed from our experience of being in the marketplace. How can we bring well-being and wellness into our everyday life, even in a city? And the experience of living in a city, and how can we improve that experience through, and also support each other in our businesses and in our flourishing. So I hope that helps your business and your personal business, or your personal brand, or your corporate brand, um, flourish. And I'll see you back here next week for some more tips. And have a wonderful weekend. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.